Welcome to my art class. In this video, we're going to go over some basic techniques for getting started with watercolors. So the first things you'll need are some watercolor paper, and it's definitely best to get specifically watercolor paper because it has a really thick quality to it that'll absorb the color and water instead of it just laying on top. And you can get a lot of these at curbside pickup at Target or Michael's, or maybe you've got some lying around. The next thing you'll need is water, and you can just use any old vase that you have, and we'll teach you a bunch of different techniques of how to use water that makes a difference with your watercolors. The next one is your watercolor paints. Now these ones I really like because they come in tubes, and as you can see there's a lot of different variety of color, which is kind of nice because then you don't have to mix it all on your own. And the next thing are some brushes. So hopefully you have some lying around your house. Otherwise, my favorite brushes are the ones that you can kind of see it's pretty narrow, but then it comes to a point at the end, and it's called a round brush. Also, it's really nice to have some thicker brushes like this that helps with covering a larger area, or since it has this straight edge here, it's really great for helping you make straight lines. I also love to have some of these really little brushes. It's great for fine details and brush lettering. So, grab some coffee, maybe some snacks for later, and let's get started. We're gonna just start with a few different basic ways of using your watercolors for practice. And then once you kind of get some good practice down, then it's fun to experiment with different patterns and designs. So the first one I want to show you guys is just kind of the basic watercolor. So first I'm just adding water to this palette. Sometimes I can bring it over and really get it nice and filled up there. So with my round brush, you can practice making strokes, getting thicker as you go, and you can kind of get a feel for how the paintbrush works with the paper. So something fun with round brushes too is you can start thin, and then just by pushing down more you can get thick, and if you bring it up it kind of has this nice leaf pattern. So a lot of times I hold it straight up and then push it down and then push it up again, and it's not always perfect edges, so you can kind of just fill it in like that. So you can try practicing a few different techniques. Maybe you want to spin it, see what that feels like. Nice little S curve. Now another thing you can do is if you fill in a circle or any shape you want, that makes the perimeter of the color. So then makes a nice little boundary so that when you fill it in, the color naturally doesn't want to leave that first boundary line that you've made. So to fill it in, I just kind of do that, and you can kind of see how the water just kind of moves around throughout it. So the fun thing about watercolor is really the more water you add, the lighter the color gets. So sometimes I'll do that, then maybe I'll make another one next to it. And you can see this one is a little bit lighter. And then I can use this paint that's still in the paintbrush. I'm just going to add some water. Make another one. Fill that one in. You can see how much lighter it is. And the fun thing with watercolor is when it's so light like this, you can't tell what it's going to look like until it dries. And when it dries, it usually has really pretty crisp edges. And it's always kind of fun to come back to your projects afterwards and see what they look like. So I know this is very basic, but it's really nice to just start this way so that you're not focused on if you're doing a good job or not, but you're just practicing, getting the paints out, and having fun with it. So some other techniques. So this one is called wet to dry, because basically you're painting wet watercolors on dry paper. Another fun one is painting wet on wet. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm just going to take the water, it might have a little bit of color on it, but basically it's just clear. Do what I did before, I just fill in a circle. And then I can just dip the color in the paint. And if you just lightly tap, it's so satisfying every time. This is really fun to do when you're doing florals and you want to do some shading where it blends naturally. And you can even keep kind of going and add a little bit more. This is also very relaxing to do. So another fun thing, maybe you want to have like a lighter color. This time maybe let's do like just some strokes like this. More of a square color. So if you do that one, and you want a brighter one next to it, if you decide to just touch them barely, overlap them a little bit, then they have a really fun blending pattern. You can also have fun by lifting your paper and kind of turning it like that. And you can have a lot of fun just watching the colors swirl and mix together. So another fun thing to do, so that was all just using one color. So let's go in to our really pretty peach color. Pick it up, add lots of water. Okay, so mix that up. So then I can go here, do another little swatch, and if I overlap it a little bit, the colors are going to blend together. So as you can see, it didn't really blend that much because this color has already dried out a decent amount. But sometimes if you pour it, see there's a little bit more of a wet spot at the bottom. If I pour it this way, sometimes it connects a little bit more. There we go, you can see it kind of bleed into the other color. Maybe you want to just have more of an even fade. Sometimes for that I like to grab more of a square brush if you want to cover a larger area. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. We'll start off with some of this really pretty bright magenta color. Maybe you want it a little bit stronger on this side. And I'm not too worried if these mix a little bit in my pan because that's kind of the look I'm going for anyways. Then maybe I want that to fade to a peach. You can see they've already started mixing. Kind of go over the area that I've already done. I'll rinse out my brush. Do a little bit more with just the peach here. Give it a nice stronger color. Rinse out my brush. I'll grab the yellow, and here I'll start over here so that this color is just pure yellow, more of a gold. And then I can bring it and mix those two together.